North Korea leader Kim Jong-un has reportedly entered Russia. This is according to the South Korean military. North Korea's state media reported that Kim had departed from Pyongyang for Russia on Sunday on his private train. Russian President Vladimir Putin is likely to arrive in the city of Vladivostok today. Kim and Putin are likely to hold talks on weapon sales. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for a greater focus on war efforts. He also pledged to intensify the crackdown on corruption as part of Ukraine's bid to join the European Union. The campaign led to the dismissal of Ukraine's wartime defense minister last week. Meanwhile, Zelensky welcomed German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock to Kyiv. He expressed gratitude for military and financial assistance provided by Berlin. According to a recent poll, about 78% of Ukrainians believe that Zelensky is directly responsible for corruption in the government and regional administrations. Corruption was named the most significant obstacle to development after Russia's war in the country. In another survey, 55% of Ukrainians said that Kyiv's allies should provide the country with military aid only under the condition of an effective fight against corruption. Washington has said that it's likely that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will host Chinese Foreign Minister Wang before the year ends. It could happen during the United Nations General Assembly meeting or after. Blinken traveled to Beijing in June this year. He had met Wang Yi's predecessor, Qin Gang. Blinken was the first top U.S. diplomat to visit China in 5 years. The U.S. State Department has said that Blinken and Qin held candid, substantive and constructive talks. The United States has said that it will unfreeze $6 billion in Iranian assets. This is part of a prisoner swap deal. The Biden administration has issued the waiver to free 5 Americans detained in Iran. The waiver was signed by U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken. U.S. President Joe Biden visited the joint base Elmendorf, Richardson in the U.S. state of Alaska on the 22nd anniversary of 9/11. He called upon Americans to never forget the terror attacks. Meanwhile, U.S. First Lady Jill Biden visited the 9/11 memorial at the Pentagon to remember the victims. Nearly 3,000 people had died in the terror attacks carried out by Al-Qaeda in 2001. Authorities in the American state of Pennsylvania say they believe that a convicted murderer who escaped prison over a week ago is still in the state. An official said that 34-year-old Danilo Cavalcante is still in Pennsylvania as he does not have the resources to get out. Cavalcante escaped a prison where he was awaiting transfer to serve a life sentence for killing his former girlfriend. Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will inaugurate 90 infrastructure projects in Jammu today. These projects are under India's Border Roads Organisation or BRO. The infrastructure projects include 21 roads, 64 bridges, 1 tunnel, airstrips and 2 helipads along India's northern and western borders. Singh will fly to the town of Samba in the territory of Jammu to inaugurate a bridge. Thousands of people in Israel protested against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's judicial overhaul law on Monday. The massive protest was held in Jerusalem. It came on the eve of a historic hearing. All Israeli Supreme Court judges are set to hear appeals against the controversial law that was passed in July. The judicial overhaul law has triggered Israel's worst domestic political crisis in years. Protesters say that the law limits the Supreme Court's powers. Thousands of people took to the streets of Spain's Barcelona on Monday to mark the Catalonia region's National Day. The Spanish police said that over 115,000 protesters had gathered. However, the event's organizers said that over 800,000 people participated in the demonstration. A Nobel laureate in the Philippines, Maria Ressa, and her news site Rappler were acquitted in tax fraud charges. Ressa won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2021 along with a Russian journalist. She was acquitted on similar tax charges 9 months ago. Ressa is currently out on bail. She was convicted in 2020. She maintains that the charges against her are politically motivated. A plane flying from Sochi to Omsk made an emergency landing in Russia-Siberia's Novosibirsk region. 159 passengers were on board Russia's Ural Airlines plane. The reason behind the emergency landing is not yet clear. The death toll due to Morocco's earthquake has passed 2,800. The 6.8 magnitude earthquake had struck the country on Friday. Rescue and relief operations are still underway. Rescue teams from Spain, the United Kingdom and Qatar have been dispatched to join the relief efforts. In climate news, Libya has declared 3 areas in its eastern Cyrenaica province disaster areas. The country has asked for international help amid deadly floods in the country. Authorities say at least 2,000 people were killed and thousands more are missing. Strong winds and heavy rain have battered and flooded Libya over the past 2 days. Relentless rain in China has killed about 7 people. It has also trapped over 1,000 residents and caused more than 100 landslides. Scientists have warned that typhoons hitting China are becoming more intense. They say this has escalated the risk of disasters. The US has set a record for the most natural disasters in a single year in 2023. This is according to the American National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. It is said that there have already been 23 extreme weather events in the US this year. This has cost its economy at least $1 billion. However, the figure does not include major disasters such as last month's tropical storm Hillary. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis is facing extreme criticism. His government has come under attack for its handling of Storm Daniel that has left 15 dead. The rainstorms have left vast tracts of the country underwater. Health experts have warned that this could become a hotbed for infectious diseases. The prime ministers of 2 small island nations, Tuvalu and Antigua and Barbuda, appeared at an international court in Germany. These islands face ongoing impacts from rising sea levels. They're disproportionately affected by the global climate crisis. The islands have asked the court in Germany to consider if carbon emissions absorbed by the ocean should be considered marine pollution. They're also seeking to enforce the obligations that high-emitting countries have towards protecting the marine environment. The World Bank poured billions of dollars into fossil fuels around the world last year. This is despite repeated promises to refocus on shifting to a low-carbon economy. The findings are based on research done by a campaign group called Urgewald. It found that the World Bank supplied about $3.7 billion in trade finances. This likely ended up funding oil and gas development. New footage shows Dutch police using a water cannon. This was to clear a main road blocked by climate activists. They've been protesting for over 3 days against the Dutch government's fossil fuel subsidies. On to business and tech news. Analysts expect China's economy to grow less than previously predicted this year. They see the economy growing by 5%. This is lower than the earlier forecast of 5.5%. The downgrade comes as China struggles to revive after the COVID-19 pandemic. The country is also reeling from a property market downturn. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of American financial firm JP Morgan, has criticized stricter capital rules proposed by US regulators. Earlier this year, regulators proposed a new requirement for banks. Under this, banks would have to set aside more capital to guard against financial risk. Dimon says the move can prompt lenders to pull back and consequently stymie economic growth. A top US markets regulator has proposed the creation of a federal registry that tracks financial fraud. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission is pushing for the creation of a searchable, centralized database for financial misconduct. The CFTC says this will make it easier for investors and law enforcement to dig up information on an entity's past financial fraud convictions and civil fines. Financial firm HSBC will raise its mortgage rates in Hong Kong by a maximum of 50 basis points. New mortgage loan rates will be increased to as much as 4.125% from 3.625%. The new changes will be effective from September 18th. HSBC says this will help the company maintain its profit margin amid higher interest rates. India may reconsider not allowing local firms to list on foreign exchanges. This is according to the country's finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman. Under current regulations, Indian firms are not allowed to list directly on overseas exchanges. A plan to allow direct overseas listings of Indian firms was first announced in 2020. However, it was later shelved following concerns around tax losses and regulatory oversight. American semiconductor company Qualcomm has signed a deal with Apple. It'll supply the iPhone maker with 5G chips until at least 2026. This comes at a time when Apple is facing increased challenges in China. The company is now looking to reinforce its supply chain elsewhere. BMW has said it'll invest $750 million at its UK plants. This is to take its iconic Mini brand all-electric by 2030. From 2026, BMW will make 2 electric models at its plant in Oxford in central England. These models are the Mini Cooper 3-door and the Mini A-Span. Dozens of investors are calling on Nike to pay its garment workers in Cambodia and Thailand. The investors want Nike to provide $2.2 million in allegedly unpaid wages. This is to more than 4,000 workers in Cambodia and Thailand. This adds to Nike's existing pressures ahead of its annual general meeting today. The Canadian government has asked mobile carriers to provide cellular connectivity to all Toronto subway riders. Carriers have been asked to provide full voice, text and data services throughout the subway system. This has to be done by October 3rd. The mobile carriers in Canada could face monetary penalties or suspensions if they fail to do so. Another group of authors in the US have sued Microsoft-backed artificial intelligence company OpenAI. They have accused the company of misusing their writing to train ChatGPT. The writers say that OpenAI copied their works without permission to teach ChatGPT to respond to human text prompts. Moving to sports. In cricket, India beat Pakistan by 228 runs at the Asia Cup Super 4 match in Colombo yesterday. The men in blue had set a daunting run target of 357. Virat Kohli was untamed and made 122 runs off 94 balls. Meanwhile, KL Rahul was not out for 111 runs. Pakistan were all out at 128 in 32 overs. India's second Asia Cup Super 4 match will be held today in Colombo. The Rohit Sharma-led team will play against Sri Lanka. One of their main challenges would be to overcome fatigue. The India-Pakistan match began on Sunday and then continued on Monday due to rain. This means the Indian cricketers will be on the field for the third day in a row now. Pakistan will call in backups for bowlers Haris Rauf and Naseem Shah. This comes after the pacer duo sustained injuries at the Asia Cup match against India. It's unclear whether Rauf and Shah will be available for the rest of the tournament. Shahnawaz Dahani and Zaman Khan will be called in as backups. The Pakistan Cricket Board in a statement said, "This is only a precautionary measure keeping in mind the fitness and well-being of the players ahead of the ICC World Cup next month, and the two will continue to remain under observation." Former Pakistani cricketer Khalid Latif has been sentenced to 12 years in prison in the Netherlands. The 37-year-old is accused of trying to incite people to murder Dutch MP Geert Wilders. In an online video, Latif had offered over $22,000 for the head of Wilders. This was after the Dutch MP had arranged a competition involving cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. The contest was later cancelled after it drew criticism in the Netherlands and protests were staged in Pakistan. Latif did not appear in the Dutch courtroom for his trial and he's believed to be in Pakistan. Argentina's 2026 World Cup qualifier match against Bolivia is scheduled for tomorrow. Lionel Messi has skipped the last practice session with his team. The 36-year-old was fatigued after Argentina's first qualifier against Ecuador. During the training session, Messi sat on a chair and just observed his teammates play. The match is being held in Bolivia's capital La Paz at the Estadio Hernando Siles. The players will clash in a stadium that's over 3,600 meters above sea level. The venue is particularly challenging for visiting teams who struggle to adapt to the adverse conditions at the high altitude. Portugal thrashed Luxembourg 9-0 at the 2024 Euro qualifiers. They had gained a comprehensive 4-0 lead within just the first half of the game. This means Portugal have won all 6 of their qualifiers for the Euros. The team did not feel the absence of talisman Cristiano Ronaldo, who was suspended. Juventus midfielder Paul Pogba has been provisionally suspended. This is after he tested positive for a banned substance. The doping test was performed after Juventus won against Udinese in the Serie A on August 20th. The test detected higher than usual levels of testosterone in Pogba. In tennis, British tennis player Antony Murray has said that Novak Djokovic will dominate men's tennis for years to come. Murray added that young players are yet to reach Djokovic's level of caliber. 36-year-old Djokovic recently claimed his 24th Grand Slam after winning the 2023 US Open. Murray said, and I quote, "It's up to the young guys to be pushing Novak and looking to overtake him. It doesn't look like that's close to happening." In badminton, the 2023 Hong Kong Open kicked off today. World number 12 Lakshya Sen will be the top-ranked Indian shuttler at the meet. PV Sindhu, HS Pranoy and Kidambi Srikanth have skipped the tournament. They will instead focus on the upcoming Asian Games. In basketball, NBA star LeBron James might feature at the 2024 Paris Olympics. According to reports, he's interested in making a comeback with the US basketball team. The 38-year-old last played for the US at the 2012 London Olympics. James is the NBA's all-time leading scorer. In the world of entertainment, the California State Assembly in the US has passed a bill that would provide unemployment insurance to striking workers. The bill will now go to the Senate Labor Committee and then to the Senate floor. The Writers Guild of America, which has been on strike since May 2nd, has backed the bill. Strikers in New York and New Jersey are entitled to unemployment benefits, but protesters in California are not because they are considered to have left their jobs voluntarily. The Nun 2 released in theaters across North America last week. In the first weekend, the movie earned over $32 million in North America. The sequel of the 2018 movie The Nun has got mixed reviews. Meanwhile, The Equalizer 3 has earned over $12 million in the opening weekend, while My Big Fat Greek Wedding earned $10 million. DC is set to release a sequel to Aquaman, a movie that turned into a billion-dollar hit. The movie is bringing back actor Amber Heard as Mera. Heard was last in the news last year for over a defamation trial involving her former husband Johnny Depp. DC did not entirely remove Amber Heard from the film, but her role in Aquaman was reportedly shifted due to avoid backlash. American TV personality Kelly Osbourne has said that she went a little overboard in her weight loss journey after she welcomed her child. Osbourne had a baby with Slipknot musician Sid Wilson in 2022. She recently said that her determination to bounce back may have been extreme. She said, and I quote, "I felt the pressure of losing the baby weight. It became my mission. I was obsessed with it." Reality TV star Savannah Chrisley is opening up about her finances. The 26-year-old has said that she spent her money like it was never going to go away. This comes after Chrisley's parents were sentenced over a conspiracy to commit bank fraud. She found herself becoming a guardian of her two siblings. Chrisley said, and I quote, "When you are in a single-income household, you do whatever you have to." Social media platforms Snapchat and MTV are set to collaborate to facilitate voting for the Video Music Awards this year. Snapchat will incorporate augmented reality lenses into the process. This will be the first official partnership between the two entities. Last year, the VMAs were featured on Snapchat's Stories page. K-pop boy band SHINee's member Key has released his new mini-album called Good and Great. This is Key's second mini-album. The album includes songs like Live Without You, Intoxicating and Can't Say Goodbye. SHINee is a 5-member band. It made its debut in 2008 with the album called Replay. The premiere of the documentary Lil Nas X Long Live Montero was delayed after a bomb threat. This happened at Toronto's Roy Thomson Hall. The Saturday night premiere of the film was delayed by about 20 minutes. Authorities verified that the threat wasn't credible. Lil Nas X was kept off the red carpet of the Toronto International Film Festival during that time. American singer and songwriter Paul Simon has said that he's beginning to come to terms with his almost complete hearing loss in his left ear. The 81-year-old singer said that his hearing loss is now impacting his ability to perform music live. Simon revealed the hearing loss in May this year and has now said that there is no improvement. He said he feels frustration and annoyance because he thought it would pass, but it has not. American singer-songwriter Charlie Robison has died at the age of 59. The country singer was forced to retire after complications from a medical procedure that left him unable to sing. Robison died after suffering cardiac arrest and other complications. Robison launched his music career in the late 1980s. In 1996, he released his solo debut album called Bandera.